The Atlanta Falcons just got screwed by the NFL. And on this episode of Falcons Today, my name is Moose, by the way, I'm going to tell you why they got screwed. And it has to do with the fact that Carson Schwesinger won NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. This is the ultimate snub if you are a Falcons fan. So on today's episode, I'm going to tell you why and how the NFL completely fucked this up and why James Pearce Jr. or Xavier Watts would have been much better fitted for winning this award. And if you agree with me, and I hope you do, and if you don't, that's fine as well. But if you think a Falcon should have won Defensive Rookie of the Year, do me a favor and smash that thumbs up icon. I should see at least 800 Falcons fans who believe exactly what I believe, which is the Atlanta Falcons should have been at least gotten more than 3 total votes than they did in this award race. Let's go back over the finalists before we get into what actually happened, right? Pretext and prefacing this is always important with some background information. These were the finalists for Defensive Rookie of the Year: Pearce, Watts, Emmanwori, Carson Schwesinger, and Abdul Carter. And then we could go even one step further and say what the odds were that anybody was going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And Carson Schwesinger came in at minus 550. Minus 550. And Jahad Campbell somehow snuck into this as well. So to me, this is just an insane lack of execution here by the NFL's awards panel, I guess is what you would call them, because the fact that Carson Schwesinger was essentially a lock tells me they had their mind pre-made up about who was going to win this award. Myles Garrett, no, not that Myles Garrett, the other Myles Garrett, said exactly what I think. James Pearce Jr. having 10.5 sacks is far more impactful than Carson Schwesinger having 156 tackles. And don't get me wrong, that's great. 156 tackles is outstanding. But I'm taking Pearce every single time and twice on Sunday. And then Xavier Watts, who had 5 interceptions, could have also won the award. Let's focus on Schwesinger for a second. You'll see the 156 tackles and you'll go, that's a hefty amount. But he only had 67 solo tackles. Meaning what? The majority of his tackles were assisted. Meaning, okay, yeah, he dives onto the football. He's got a nose for finishing plays. But he only had 2.5 sacks. He only had 2 INTs. There's no doubt that Schwesinger is a great linebacker. There is no doubt that he is an excellent surveyor of the field, somebody that swarms around the football all the time. But ask yourself this question. What has a bigger impact on the game? Sacks or tackles? I think the answer is pretty clear and obvious that sacks have a bigger impact on the game because you can get tackles a variety of ways. You can get tackles on special teams. You can get tackles on a 94-yard run that gets downed at the 6. You could get tackles in a variety of ways. It does not mean that it's always going to have the biggest impact on the game. So I'll stick with James Pearce Jr. as my, Defensive Rookie of the Year. And that's fine, if you don't agree with me. But JPJ 1,000% deserved this over the likes of Carson Schwesinger. And the stats, they back that up as well. Yeah, okay, he had 26 total tackles. But he had 10 tackles for loss. He had 10.5 sacks. Do you know how hard that is to do as a rookie, let alone an NFL veteran? Quarterback hits, 16. Pass rush win rate, 14%. 16th best in the NFL. Not amongst qualifying rookies, amongst qualifying edges and defensive players alone. JPJ is the superior player. And I can prove to you that this feels almost like they didn't want to give it to the Falcons based off of the Falcons' record. And I'll tell you why. Who won the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2024? Let's rewind the tape now, almost a year and a half ago. Jared Verse. Jared Verse won it in the 2024 to 2025 season. Moose, there's no way you could go back and compare the two of those. Oh, yes, we can, and I'm going to. Let's take a look at their rookie year stats. Jared Verse had 66 tackles. Okay, so he blew JPJ out of the water in that area. But outside of that, JPJ crushed him, more than doubled him in sacks. They had the exact same amount of quarterback hits and almost the exact same amount of pressures. So these are almost identical stats. Verse had more tackles. Pearce had more sacks. And Jared Verse won Rookie of the Year. James Pearce Jr. got 2 fucking votes. That's ridiculous. And then we can even do one step further and dive into it. Total snaps taken. Carson Schwesinger got 958 total snaps. Jared Verse, 833 when they won their Rookie of the Year awards. James Pearce Jr. had 593 total snaps this year. Like, he did more with less than both of these guys. And you still weren't able to acknowledge him as a great player. I don't know if this is a pre-existing condition. They thought that James Pearce Jr. was going to be a headache with the attitude problems coming out of the draft, or if they were just like, well, the Falcons were the Falcons this year, so we gave it to the Carson Schwesinger. But then the Browns were worse. So it doesn't make sense to me how this kid could have gotten Rookie of the Year, and I recognize that might be a record for tackles from a rookie. Fine, whatever. But again, I will ask you, what is more impactful? Sacks or tackles? Did James Pearce Jr. get snubbed? Yes or no? Of course he did. Of course he did. He absolutely got snubbed. But you let me know down in the comment section down below. Now, coming up next, I'll tell you why Xavier Watts could have and should have won it over Schwesinger as well. I would have had Schwesinger finish third, if I'm being completely honest. But before that, I got to tell you about my friends over at Factor Meals. If 2026 is now in your life, which it is, I mean, for every single person here, and you still have no time to cook, that's where Factor comes into play, my friends. You have to eat better with zero time and zero energy to make it happen, and Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. It just removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. Choose from 100 rotating weekly meals with lean proteins, colorful veggies, and whole food ingredients with healthy fats, the stuff that you'd make if you had the time. Plus, the new Muscle Pro collection supports strength and recovery. It's always fresh. It's never frozen. Ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no cleanup, no mental load. Meals that fit your goals and your schedule. Healthier eating, calorie management, and of course, more protein. So head to factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 off and use code FalconsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. Rise Up Ryan, which was formerly Rise Up Bijan, by the way, one of my favorite Atlanta Falcons Twitter accounts, came up with this saying right here, which was Carson Schwesinger joined a great defense, which is true. The Cleveland Browns have had a pretty decent defense the last couple of years. James Pearce Jr. and Xavier Watts created one. That's the difference. That's the difference. Oh, and JPJ and Watts combined for 3 votes. That's utterly disgraceful. You are talking about 2 of the most impactful rookies in the NFL, and they combined for a grand total of 3 votes. Don't believe me? Here's the final vote tally. Schwesinger, Emmanwori, Pearce, Watts, Carter. Carter got no votes, by the way. Emmanwori ended up getting 7. And I'll take nothing away from Nick Emmanwori. He's a super versatile hybrid safety / outside linebacker. He plays basically everywhere. He's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of that defense in Seattle. But Schwesinger led far and away the rookie voting with 40. It blows my mind. But back to Xavier Watts for a second, because that's who we're supposed to be focusing on. I've told you guys so many times that this was my biggest draft win I've ever had. I watched every snap this kid take at the University of Notre Dame, because that's my team. And I said, best safety in the league in 2 to 3 years. Easy. and he's already well on his way. In fact, Jesse Bates went out and said that he is already one of the best safeties in the league, and he's a rookie. I mean, the numbers back it up as well. 96 tackles, 11 PBUs, 5 INTs, and a coverage grade of 73.1. Find me a player not named Kevin Byard that had a better year than Xavier Watts. I'll wait. You can't. And even unanimously considering a guy like Kyle Hamilton, who also went to Notre Dame, by the way. Everybody considers Kyle Hamilton to be the best safety in the league right now. Watts had a better statistical season than Kyle Hamilton. It's just about building upon those reps if you're Xavier Watts. Oh, and if you were wondering how he fares against other quarterbacks, not just coverage grade, guarding opposing wide receivers, he allowed opposing passer rating of 89.7. So quarterbacks are struggling. Wide receivers are struggling, all leading to his highest rookie impact score of any defensive player in the NFL this year, 94.4, 11% higher than the next best, and 14% higher than a guy that got more votes than he did. This is bullshit. But this isn't about Nick Emmanwori. This is not about, taking away from another really great defensive player. This is about Carson Schwesinger winning the award. Those tackles are empty calories. They are. It's basically the equivalent of, do you guys remember when Russell Westbrook was going out and getting all of those triple doubles, but everyone was like, yeah, but they're not really leading to efficient wins. They're just kind of you padding the box. And by the way, Cleveland sucked so much, their defense was always on the field. So you end up playing almost 400 more snaps than James Pearce Jr. or Xavier Watts. Yeah, you're probably going to have some inflated numbers. But who am I to say anything? I'm not on the panel. All I can give you is what logic will tell you, and that the logic is that James Pearce Jr. should have won this, not just gotten 2 fucking votes. It's just insane to me. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. Sorry I got so heated today. What will the Falcons defense be ranked in 2026? Top 5. Top 5 for sure. I mean, our pass rush was already second best in the league. So this is a top 5 defense heading into the year, if I've ever seen one. And we're retaining Jeff Ulbrich. So I can only assume that this team is going to be lit afire under to get back to the playoffs. And I'm here for every single last second of it. Falcons fans, that's all I got for you on this episode. I might be back a little bit later today. Might see you a little bit later tomorrow, depending on our schedules and how they line up. As always, rise up and be cool.